I call this February 22nd, 2024 meeting of the ABCGC plus APS to order. Commissioner Olivas and Councilor Grout are excused. Commissioners Baca and Benson, Councilors Baca, Feeblecord, and APS member Jackson are appearing via Zoom. I would please join me in a silent invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by myself. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you again. Excited to be here tonight. We're going to have some good conversations about the opioid settlement funds from city and county collaboration. What a perfect place, because we are here on this board that includes city, county, and APS board members. I'm moving to item number 3, approval of minutes. I move to approve the December 14th, 2023 ABCGC plus APS meeting minutes. Can I please have a second?
Second.
Thank you. I think that's Chair Baca. Thank you. Please call the roll, Angela.
Commissioner Baca,
Yes.
Commissioner Benson, Commissioner Benson,
You're on mute, Benson.
Councilor Baca,
There you go.
Sorry, yes. Joaquin Baca,
Councilor
yes.
Rogers, Councilor Rogers,
Yes.
Vice Chair Feeblecorn,
Yes.
Mr. Armijo,
Presente.
so
Sí.
Oh, yes. Okay, I'm so moved. I always forget that APS doesn't get a vote, but I think Commissioner Olivas and I were talking about how and if we could change that this should be the year. So let's work on that. So public comment, let's move. Is there anyone signed up for public comment?
we have no one signed up for public comment.
Okay, we will just move on from there and on to new business, item number 4. So we would like to now proceed with new business. I wanted to, as current chair and chair for this board in 2023, I'd just like to say it's been an honor to serve here. I think this board was originally created to really be able to vet and deliberate and bring our best together of the different agencies together to think about our behavioral health, mental health, community public health and safety needs. So it's been an honor to serve on this board for all 4 years that I've been on commission. But also to be able to chair. And last year we were able to really dive into some of the opioid settlement agreements and really make some things that we'll hear later on tonight about. I also just want to say that we'll hear a little bit later this evening about the opioid settlement, and I just want to give so much recognition and appreciation to all the folks that were on this board last year, including Council Feeblecorn, Commissioner Olivas, Councilor Renee Grout, Commissioner Baca. All of us really partnered last year to make sure that we could, do what we've all said we want more of: collaboration between our governments, working across governments to make sure we're all looking at the best interest of all our residents across city, county, and our students in APS. So I'm just really proud. I'm very thankful for all the leadership that put in to be that collaborative response. And in that, I know I'm very thankful for Council Feeblecorn, who last year served as vice chair, has always been a great ally and a strategic partner for this work. So I just wanted to give that. I had reached out to Councilor Feeblecorn about being about chair, and I also have talked to some others. She declined the chair nomination that I was offering, and I had done some work to maybe I hope I just want to honor her and thank her for her partnership. So I would like to, in my exiting, be the first to make a nomination for the chair of this council to be Nicole Rogers, City Councilor.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Baca.
Thank you, Commissioner Baca. Is there any other nominations for chair? Awesome. Can we have a roll call? I guess it doesn't matter if there's no other nominations.
Counselor Baca,
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry.
Commissioner Baca,
Yes.
Commissioner Benson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Feeblecorn.
Yes.
Let's see, Counselor Rogers
Yes.
and Mr. Armijo.
Well, I don't know. She hasn't lobbied me, so maybe. Yes.
Told you we're gonna have fun today. Oh, thank you. Looks like we have
And
unanimous
Chair Barboa.
support. Congratulations, Chair Rogers. Well, I think at this point I can you could take over the meeting or I can continue for today and you could start. Okay, great.
Please continue for today.
Thank you. So selection of vice chair. We'll take nominations for vice
Madam
chair.
Chair?
Yes.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Commissioner.
I'd like to nominate yourself. I would like to nominate my colleague, Commissioner Barboa, as vice chair.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second, Joaquin Baca.
Thank you, Councilor Baca. Any other nominations for vice chair? Well, thank you. Do we need to call the roll if there's not other? Okay, thank you. Well, thank you. I think if there's any objections, anyone in opposition? Thank you. There we go. Exciting. I'm excited for the year ahead. Thank you all and to work collaboratively on this council. So I'll continue on to item 5C, approval of the 2024 meeting schedule. So just for point of reference for this commission, last year, previously in years, this board was meeting a monthly basis. Last year when I was chair, I made it to go every other month. And I sort of sent out a schedule that included some agenda items. It is totally up to the chair to decide how they want to proceed, if they want to meet every other month or every month. So this is no hurt feelings if we don't approve this and the chair decides they want to do something else. But this is what is in front of us, and we can decide to adopt it or adopt a different meeting schedule next month when the new chair will be taking over.
Madam Chair?
Yes?
This is Commissioner Baca. I want to move approval of the new schedule. I think that it was a very important thing to move to every other month. We had a quorum every time, which was a big success, as I understand. It was my first year, but we had some difficulty achieving quorum in previous years. And so I think with our busy schedules and good organization, we've been able to cover issues in this schedule. So I move approval.
Thank you, Chair, Commissioner Baca. I'm so used to calling her Chair Baca. She is my chair. I second that. And any discussion? From our new chairs, any thoughts, or would you like to defer?
No, I think I think Commissioner Baca gave me an understanding of why that decision was made, and I don't want to change that at this time.
Great. Thank you. The roll call, please.
Madam Chair Barboa,
Yes.
incoming Chair Rogers,
Yes.
Commissioner Baca,
Yes.
Councilor Baca,
Yes.
Commissioner Benson,
Yes.
Former Vice Chair Feeblecorn,
Yes.
and Mr. Armijo,
Yes.
and so called.
Thank you. We have a pass. Item 5D, approval of 2024 reasonable notice of meeting resolutions. I move that we approve the reasonable notice of meeting resolution. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Chair Rogers. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Barboa,
Yes.
Chair Rogers,
Yes.
Councilor Baca,
Yes.
Commissioner Baca,
Yes.
Commissioner Benson,
Yes.
Councilor Feeblecorn,
Yes.
Member Armijo,
Yes.
so called.
Thank you. Okay, on to the real business. 5E, opioid settlement funds. We have Director Ramirez and CAO, I always forget the initials, but our wonderful Kathy Court from Bernalillo County to present. Turn your mic on. Your microphone.
Thank you. I'm not used to being up here. This is Kathy. My name is Kathy Cord. I'm the Chief of Government Affairs for Bernalillo County, and I was tasked by County Manager Julie Morgus-Baca to lead our opioid settlement fund initiatives within the county. And I'm going to let my colleague, my wonderful colleague, introduce himself.
Good evening, everyone. Gilbert Ramirez. I'm the Director of Health, Housing, and Homelessness, stepping out of my Deputy Director role of Behavioral Health for the city. So we've been working collaboratively on this. So thank you for having us tonight.
Your request for an update from our effort it was timely, and we're really excited to present to you tonight the work that we've been doing since last fall. We started talking in September, Gilbert and I, and so we're really excited to share this update with you and answer any questions you might have this evening for us. So basically, going back to October, the Bernalillo County Commission and the City of Albuquerque passed a mirror resolution. And that resolution has really guided our work as a team, with our focus being, since that passage of the resolutions, our focus has been really revolving around the requirement in that resolution that we contract with an outside entity or contractor to help our respective local governments develop a plan of action for use of our opioid settlement funds. When we started looking for someone who could possibly help us with this work and work with not only City of Albuquerque and Bernalillo County, but also keeping in mind that we wanted somebody who could help us engage our state, our federal, and all of our local partners, we developed a scope of work. And that scope of work really did come from the resolutions, both passed by the city and the commission. So we're really grateful for that guidance. It was all there in the resolution. So as you can see, our scope of work when we were soliciting feedback and input from potential contractors was, number one, we want to establish a comprehensive policy for the expenditure of opioid settlement monies, defining the guidelines for utilization. Number two, we want to achieve meaningful engagement and strategic collaboration between the City of Albuquerque and Bernalillo County to pass a joint strategic resource plan for opioid settlement monies, promoting that coordinated effort. We also wanted to ensure that we solicit the input from the state of New Mexico, our tribal partners and governments, other local governments, to ensure that we have a comprehensive and inclusive planning approach. Number four, we wanted to contract with this entity to design and implement a planning process for us, including a landscape analysis of current resources in the local behavioral health, prevention, intervention, criminal justice, and addiction treatment system. Next, we wanted to conduct a facilitated public planning and meeting process to solicit input on the use of opioid settlement monies with outreach to providers, impacted communities, and business groups. We also wanted someone to understand that we are wanting to prioritize city and county projects to assist in preventing, treating, and abating opioid use disorders, focusing on IT infrastructure, supportive housing, recovery housing, and evidence-based prevention, intervention, and treatment programs. And finally, we wanted to make sure that our potential contractor knows that we must comply with the New Mexico opioid allocation agreement, including the adherence to the list of opioid remediation uses. So it was a really good scope of work that we were able to start off discussions with. Our first proposal and our first discussion occurred with Envive Solutions. This is an Albuquerque-based group, a woman-owned business, and they have a lot of experience managing large-scale collaborative projects that involve a diverse range of stakeholders. They serve and empower human service organizations, including government entities. So they establish a group of objectives that are listed here on the slide for you. They told us we can establish a comprehensive policy for the expenditure of your settlement monies. We can achieve that engagement and strategic collaboration. We can help you and help commissioners and city council, get this passed and make sure that it's agreed upon by all parties. And they really were very, very excited about possibly being a partner with us in this work. On this side, you'll see that they had a proposed cost for us to do this work. They knew that the timeline was also this year. We want to be able to present to City Council and County Commission this proposed strategic plan, a process by which we move forward. We need that done by October to November of this year. And so their proposed cost to do this work with us was $225,000. Our second proposal came from Vital Strategies. Vital Strategies is a global health organization and is the lead implementation partner in the Bloomberg Overdose Prevention Initiative. It is working in 7 states, including New Mexico, to achieve an equitable reduction in overdoses. Vital Strategies has been a key partner in Bernalillo County's fentanyl awareness campaign, Keep New Mexico Alive. Vital's engagement in settlement work is comprised of various collaborative activities with Bloomberg partners, including Johns Hopkins University, national organizations, and state-level decision makers. Vital Strategies is able to leverage its subject matter expertise, funding, and network resources to advance the integration and adoption of harm reduction approaches and evidence-based overdose prevention practices in the planning and implementation of settlement-funded strategies and programming. Their proposed cost was nothing. We love that. They have a $10 million grant to work in the state of New Mexico. They're actually working in 7 states. They've got $10 million for each of those states to do the work that they do. And so thereby being able to offer us their services because they are already grant funded. And we'll talk about that in a little bit, the challenge of that at the moment. But basically, they are offering to hire a short-term local consultant to coordinate the activities with us through November of 2024. And they're also offering to fund a second staff member placed at either the city or the county to support the implementation of that first strategic plan that's approved at the end of this year and begin preparing for 2025 and 2026, because we do know all strategic plans, they're living documents. We've got to kind of change them as we implement them, and they're willing to help us do that through 2026. They also offered a beautiful phased approach to this project with us, with phase 1 basically taking place as soon as we can possibly get an agreement solidified and approved by our respective governmental entities. But the phase one is basically providing that in-kind technical assistance on the legal, regulatory, communications, data and evaluation, drug policy issues to support the following objectives. Preparation of a landscape analysis, facilitation of public planning and meeting processes, and development of recommendations that reflect, and I'm quoting from their proposal, careful, deliberate, and strategic use of opioid settlement funding, and consistent with the other requirements of the city and county resolutions. Of course, phase two would be that hiring of a short-term local consultant to coordinate development of that plan and settlement spend plan. And the coordinator would be supervised by Vital Strategies and collaborate closely with our city and county teams. And then phase three is that ongoing. That phase three happens after November of this year, where we're kind of just continuing the work through 2025 and 2026. So today, where we stand today, we met with Vital Strategies yesterday. We talked about their proposal. We asked them to amend a few things in their proposal, including their timelines. They offered this proposal to us in January, and obviously we're barely talking about this now in February, so we have to kind of push their timeline forward a little bit, and they're absolutely willing and able to do that. So our next steps right now is we have a meeting with them and our legal team, city and county legal teams, to try and figure out an agreement, because no money is changing hands here, and yet we still want to formalize this collaboration, this agreement, and this contract with them to do this work. And so our goal is to have this agreement presented and approved by City Council and County Commissioners by the end of March, so that we can get working in April. Right now, as I mentioned, Vital Strategies is working to amend its timelines that were first proposed in December, January. They're also working on their internal plan for implementation so that they're ready to go as soon as the contract is agreed to and awarded. And on our end, we are gathering all the data that we want. That we already have so much data. We have so many analyses that have already been done by both city and county. So we're gathering all that for them. We're gathering key upcoming events that we know are taking place where we might be able to have them part of, because we want that community engagement. I'm already developing a list of community groups and contacts for them. And when the agreement is approved, county and city will facilitate introductions between our community groups and the Vital Strategies team. And one note that I didn't add here, we also had the pleasure of meeting with Congressional Representative Stansberry's staff this afternoon. And they are also offering their assistance in this effort to connect us with community groups. Representative Stansberry really wants to be part of this effort, and we absolutely welcome that. So with that, we stand for questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kathy and Gilbert. Gilbert, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, no, for clarity, some might wonder, like, why wasn't Vive engaged for a proposal? And they had already had a state agreement to look at their strategic plan at the state level. And so whenever we can utilize a state agreement that already exists or an organization that has that contract, it was ideal for us to look at just how do we execute this quickly and talk to folks that we could engage in with regards to a contract. So I know that would be a question I would ask, like, why Vive and nobody else, right? They are currently doing that work at the state level. They've had contracts in that area, so we thought it would be appropriate to solicit them and see what they could do with the scope of work. And then Vital Strategies came in as well as another partner, and given their grant, we did clarify with them with regards to any funding deliverables on their end through their grant. They would hold the cities and our county accountable, and they said no, their grant is very open to just making sure that the work they do is with the intent to reduce harm reduction, right, and prevent overdose. And as long as they have a strategy plan to do that, their Bloomberg funding allows for them to be able to invest in that. So therefore, we bring both proposals with the understanding that, you know, one comes at a cost, the other comes with an organization that's a lead in this public health arena and doing it in other municipalities, and so they're willing to partner with us to kind of lead this work, and then also be accountable to the reports and updates that you all wish to receive as to how this progress is going. So, thank you.
Thank you, Director Ramirez. And I just want to, of course, I like to talk a lot, I already said, but I just want to remind folks, because we were so privileged, our attorney Ken Martinez last year brought the lawyer who worked on this case, Mr. Luis Robles. He presented all the data, the findings, information. It's incredible. I'll try and make sure we share that with the new income, with this new board again, so that folks have that information. But between city and county combined, it's about $147 million to be distributed over the next 7 to 12 years. But, you know, that 147 isn't a lot of money when you think about the great need we have, but it is enough for us to, we believe, right, to say collaboratively we can do this work together and really make the impact needed and do the work that our communities have been literally dying for. So I'm just thankful for the partnership, thankful to you, Director Ramirez, and our Kathy Court, CGA Court. It's a really, this is a big step for, in my opinion, today, and thank you so much for that. Any other comments?
Yes, thank you. I just had a question about, so these proposals, would we then enter into a contract? I know the Vital Ones isn't charging us, but there's going to be memorandums of understanding or some kind of contract about how we're working together?
Yes, so that was one thing we asked them in the other states that you represent. How have you all handled the agreements? We're just not used to one that doesn't involve cash exchange, right? IGA, MOU, or actual contract. So we have an upcoming meeting with them, as was said, to look at what that agreement would look like. And I think before we execute it, we'd bring the drafts before both of our respective groups to review and then give input. And then it would be up to execution on your all's end, if that's the choice you choose to go.
One more question. So in the meantime, while we're figuring out this plan, can either entity spend any of the neither entity can actually move to spend any of this money? Is that explicit? Or do
Madam
both-
Chair and Madam Vice Chair and Commissioners, you are correct. There has been some opioid settlement funding that the city of Albuquerque has spent, 1.5 million to MDC.
Yes, so initially, we received our first appropriation of dollars, which was just under 5 million on the city side. And that was appropriated to the Department of Family and Community Services, which is now Health, Housing, and Homelessness, which is my department. However, moving forward from that, this legislation was introduced, kind of pausing expenditures on all that funding, moving forward, saying the agreement is the strategic plan should drive the investments of those fundings. Now, on the city side, where did some of that go? Yes, 1.5 million went to the county to support the MDC program and the medication-assisted treatment. I think we gave 300,000 over for the Keep NM Alive campaign that we did, and then there were other appropriations for small chunks of recovery housing and others on the city side. So I can give that breakdown. I worked closely with Councilor Fiebelkorn, former vice chair here, in regards to where that funding was expended before this resolution was introduced, because there was a previous resolution that designated a portion of that to us. However, since that time, the rest has been sitting there and collecting interest. My understanding, total amount on the city side is about 27 million. And so minus that 5 that was already dedicated, you're still looking at about 22 million that's sitting in that pot currently. Now,
And it is gaining interest, you said.
and it's gaining interest, yes. So there's a huge amount of money while this is sitting and just kind of being discussed. The other piece in regards to that funding is the portions that are sitting and waiting are going to come over the period of 12 to 18 years. So it's important to remember, like, we're getting these chunks and we don't have it all up front. A lot of folks were like, oh, you're getting 142 million, you have it now, let's spend it. It's coming in waves, right? So that's what we're tracking. Typically, we see that money come in every October, November, and they hit both entities with those amounts, and they roll into our books.
And on the county side, we have a total of, let's see, we had received 4.6 million, and then we received another 17-something million. So we have a total of $22,574,451 that we have received total to date. We spent about $900,000 on the Keep New Mexico Alive campaign, the fentanyl awareness campaign, and I know we used a portion of the funding prior to the resolution being approved. We used a portion of the funding, I believe Pam can clarify for me, but I think it also went to the MAT program at MDC. Is that correct? That's correct. That's correct. So, and other than that, our money is also sitting and just gaining interest right now until we have a strategy for utilizing these funds.
Thank you.
And just for clarity, the county's, I think, percentage return on all the separate funds that come in is just a little over 18%, and the cities is at about 22.7%. So we get a little bit more, but like I said, united, looking at both pots when that money comes. So you look at the statewide appropriation, then you look at the percentages of the municipalities and what that is issued to, and those are our two kind of rates.
Wonderful. Last thing, I'll stop as well.
Don't stop.
Just
Okay.
for the community organizations, I'd really love to see those lists and to help just make sure that we have some equity in those groups for trusted messengers too.
Absolutely. I actually we welcome your input on who we should be including in this initial meet and greet is what I'm going to call it for right now. But yes, absolutely. I'll put that list together. I'm working on it right now for Vital Strategies. I can share that with the board and we're going to get some feedback from Representative Stansberry as well. They want to see that list and add some of their partners that they've been already contacting and talking with here at the local level. So absolutely, we welcome that. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think this is the perfect board to be able to continue to get updates and be able to give input and hopefully even, ask public to come out and receive information and give input as well. And yeah, we don't have, but thankfully both our governments really have the kind of reserves that we could spend and plan and create our own phases for how we use this funding to build what we need for our community. So exciting. Any other discussion, folks online?
I have a question, Madam Chair.
Yes.
This is Barbara Baca. So when you went through the presentation, Kathy, the Vital Strategies is going to establish a public engagement plan as part of their deliverable, or when do we know? I mean, that is, I think, one of the things that when we were passing these mirror resolutions that really rang true to me, that we had a lot of people coming to the table saying, this is a one-time funding, which is really important to be very impactful and think outside the box, be creative. We need to be talking about some things that are preventive kinds of programs as well as treatment types of programs. So I'm interested in those folks being engaged and engaging communities that really have been impacted by this terrible opioid crisis. So what is when do we know what that community engagement plan is?
Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, Commissioner Baca. So that is what we want. That's what Vital Strategies is actually doing now. They're starting to put on paper, what does this look like? And, they've got a two-pronged approach here. They're looking at our data, doing a landscape analysis of our data, our funding, but they're also developing a plan for that community output, that outreach, and feedback. And that's where we're trying to help them in collecting, a list, putting together a list of those community groups that we know want to be engaged and should be engaged. It's a short list now, but it's going to grow. and we do want that feedback from our elected officials. All of you can help us with that. You're out there in the community, which groups are looking to provide some feedback to this effort, want to give input into how they think the opioid settlement funding should be spent collaboratively with the city and the county. So yes, any help you want to give us, I'm going to accept that help, and we'll add them to the list. Now, I don't know how, I'm an outreach type of person, that is for sure, and my initial thought was get Vital Strategies here at the county chambers, at the city chambers, and invite the community to come and meet the Vital Strategies team. And by community, I mean all those people that we're talking about here who want to provide that feedback and that input.
And thank you.
If I could add, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, Commissioner Baca, we have our initial thoughts on how we do that engagement, but we also know that it's important to go to the community for that work. And we really hope the Vital Strategies will be the entity that brings that plan and that map to us to say this is how we do it. We just facilitate the spaces, the connections, who the folks are, but that should sit within their realm so that we're
Right.
on the periphery, and we're making the connections and providing the opportunity. But that's what they should be doing, right? Whether that's out in the schools, whether it's out in the communities, whether it's out at, Gateway, we have an educational auditorium there. We can lend the spaces. I think we need to rely on them to be able to facilitate that process as best they can, so that it's not coming to our government sites and saying that, you must come to us. We do have to take that, I think, to the community, which I'm sure they're going to bring forward and say, how do we get out there? You give us the spaces and give us the lists, and then we will engage them for that feedback.
Good.
Thank you.
One more question.
Yeah,
Now that you said that, just
Feel
brought
free.
up something
Go
else.
ahead.
Thank you, Commissioner Baca, for that question. For me, Vital Strategies is not based in New Mexico, right?
No, I
They're
don't
not.
believe their home
No.
base is here. However,
Right.
they have a contract as a priority state and a lead entity to do this work. So they're already doing some at the state level, and then they have engaged the county with some of the campaign for the keeping them alive, as far as they're helping us look at the website and the content on there and how it can be more utilized based on the work that they do from a public health lens and perspective.
Sure, I would just like to.
I was going to say, I'll add to that. They actually do have somebody located
Local,
here
that's true.
in New Mexico as their New Mexico lead here in New Mexico.
That lives
And then they
here?
have their colleagues are in other states. Maybe New York, I can't even remember. But they do have one person here in New Mexico doing this work. So they have one person in every one of the 7 states that they are coordinating this grant.
And that person's, the reason I'm asking my line of questioning is in the past, when the city has hired out-of-state folks to do community engagement, there's no training of our norms or our neighborhoods or anything. And I've seen these contractors come and really disrupt and cause harm and erode the trust because they just didn't know certain things about our communities, especially the communities that we're hoping to reach. I would hope have lived experience. And so just hopefully we can give them a little bit of a rundown on, just some of the faux pas that I saw from some of our other out-of-state contractors when they're in our neighborhoods. Would be nice.
No, and I would like just add to that. I was actually going to go to the point to say I'm very thankful that you all have decided on Vital Strategies, not just because they were free, but because their national recognition to do this work. And I totally agree with you, Councilor Rogers, that oftentimes folks just don't understand, and then getting acclimated to New Mexico can take a whole year in itself. But what I was able to meet with Vital Strategies and their approach to harm reduction, they're really taking an innovative, more global approach to ending this. And they have staff all over the world, like in China, and they're dealing with this in different parts of the world. So, and when I met with them, they were one of their top things, which I was like, and it's even in the scope of work that they shared, that they would hire local folks to be the interim collaborators. So that was one of the first things I asked them was like, how are you going to be here? And if you're way over there, no, they were really clear that they like to do the inside. They've already met with so many of the community partners in doing this work. And so I'm excited. And I think that's our job too, right? To hold everybody accountable to meeting the needs of our community. So very important. Any other questions, folks online? Well, thank you so much. I think this is the perfect evening to hear this great news. Again, much thanks and appreciation to Commissioner Baca, Commissioner Olivas, Councilor Fieberkorn, and Councilor Grout, who helped us pass this last year, and looking forward to our work together this year. Thanks so much. Thanks to you both.
Thank you very much for your time today.
Yes. Okay, moving to old business, continuing behavioral health initiatives. Our senior manager, Pam Acosta, to present.
How do you, did I turn it? Okay.
Good. All righty. Good evening, Madam Chair Rogers, Vice Chair Barboa, and members of the Governing Commission. Nice to see you guys today. My name is Pam Acosta. I'm the Senior Manager with the Behavioral Health Initiative, here tonight to tell you about some exciting things that are going on in behavioral health. We have a lot of things that are happening right now, so I'm going to try and be brief. I'm going to break it down into 3 sections, program updates, RFP updates, and then new projects that we're going to be entering in. Okay. As you know, we have 4 portfolios within the Behavioral Health Initiative: community supports, crisis services, prevention, intervention, harm reduction, and housing supports. Under our community supports, we just entered into a new peer case management contract with the Albuquerque Center for Hope and Recovery here in 2024. We're excited about that. All of our peer drop-in programs have entered into their 2nd year of contracts and have provided their 1-year annual reports. Those 4 providers are Albuquerque for Center, Hope and Recovery, Best Chance, and Crossroads for Women. Let's see here. Under prevention and intervention and harm reduction, our community engagement team, YDI, they're very busy, and a majority of their referrals have been around food insecurity and lack of housing. So they are responding to the community. We often refer to them for the RRC. ACS works closely with them as well, and we send them out into the community to engage. Our 8 adverse childhood experience programs are moving smoothly, and they continue to serve the community. We continue to go over their budgets, make sure that they're complying, and then, making sure that they're spending down their funding appropriately. Those groups are All Phase, Central Savila, A New Day, PB&J, AMI Kids, Cuidando de los Niños, YDI, and Enlace. Under prevention, intervention, and harm reduction, as Mr. Ramirez, Director Ramirez just mentioned, the city did fund some Suboxone or some settlement money, opioid settlement money, to the Metropolitan Detention Center for their Suboxone program. The IJ is currently being routed. We had to make some amendments, and we're just hoping to get those back very quickly and get that contract executed. Services are continuing using the funding that BHI provided previously. Under housing, at our single site housing, which is Hope Village, there are 40 individuals currently housed. 6 units are vacant due to recent evictions, and then a few clients passed away. We also have funded some capital money towards the New Mexico Veterans Integration Center. They're continuing construction of their 42-unit transitional housing building for veterans and their families. The building is slated to be finished in the late spring of 2024. Several of our members recently toured the facility to check on the progress and came back really excited. We think this is going to be a really good thing for the community. Our CYFD Safe House for sex trafficked youth continues to be renovated. They have purchased the items needed for renovations, and we are slated to be finished with the project in late 2024. They do have a provider that they selected, YDI, who is I'm pretty sure it's YDI. I'm sorry if I might have to get back to you on that. I'm pretty sure it's YDI, who will be providing the operations and the case management there. Let's see. We also entered into a recent contract with Enlace Comunitario for a motel voucher. This one I'm really proud to talk about because it is a motel voucher for domestic violence victims. The program will run until June of 2024, and families are able to stay in a motel, I think, for up to 30 days while they're seeking other housing or getting their situation to where they're in a safe spot. Let's see. And the BHI, we are in the process of conducting annual audits, clinical audits with our clinician, Helen Tafoya. She's a contractor with us, and she's actually doing the clinical audits on the housing portfolio currently. So she's going around looking at charts, and she's providing us some of those reports back, including one of those she recently did was the tiny home village, which I will talk about here in a second. Actually, right now. Do I have any questions on the other programs before I move on? I don't want to move too fast. I know there's a lot to cover, but I want to feed you with as much good stuff as I can. Okay. Tiny Home Village just hired their permanent social services program manager. Her name is Beatrice Fierro. She has 23 years experience in case management, program development, grant management, behavioral health, and criminal justice. Sarah Spain had been previously filling that as an interim program manager there. So we're excited to have Bea come on. She's hit the ground running, and we're excited to have her. Our contracted provider, UNM Office of Community Health, they just hired their program manager as well, and they are now fully staffed. So we're excited about that as well. Back in November, I think my last update to you guys, we had put out, we had opened up our application window in November. We received 310 applications. We are on target to meet our goals. Currently, I'm so happy to say this is the highest it's ever been. Our census, out of 30 homes, we are sitting now at 29. And the only reason we're not at 30 is one of the bed frames broke, and we need facilities to go in there and build that frame back up. So I'm super excited about that. The Resource Reentry Center, we just completed tours with San Juan County, who drove down here specifically to tour the CARE campus, and RRC. They're looking to build a transition planning model workflow and a reentry center there in San Juan. They were really excited to learn about everything that we do. We were happy to talk about the evolution and give them some starter points on, hey, we hit this pitfall, you can avoid this. And so we're going to be providing technical assistance to them as they get up off the ground. We also met with someone from the Gateway Center today, Terry Schleller. Yes, I'm so sorry if I'm sorry for butchering that. Who wants to adopt some of the RRC workflows and get some of the physical space adaptations to build into their receiving center. So we flooded Terry with a bunch of information, said we're willing to be a partner and help you in any way possible to get you guys up off the ground, educated him about the population, some of the things that they would be experiencing, and then the difference between RRC, which is, those exiting from the jail versus somebody who's entering from the community. So we're excited about that new partnership and helping that out. RRC is currently serving an average of 40 clients per day. So 40 clients are exiting the jail per day. Swing shift is obviously our busiest. They go to court during the day and then they get out in the evening. So it's our busiest shift. But thankfully, we still are maintaining an 86% engagement rate in one or more services when they get out of jail. And as we were talking with San Juan, we were talking about in the beginning, we had a 16% engagement rate. People were just going straight through the RRC out into the street, and now we have improved that. And we're getting people to stay longer, getting them connected to services. RRC also continues to work closely with the DA's office and LOPD on diversion and connecting clients to services. So we're really trying to reduce who goes to jail. Commissioner Barboa or Vice Chair Barboa, I know that this is important to you, is that diversion piece. And so we continue to partner with them. They've been wonderful to work with, both of them. And then we're continuing to host out of custody competency hearings. Today that was a question that was posed in our Criminal Justice Coordinating Council about, why aren't we seeing more people? The wait list is getting really long. One of the things that we're seeing on our end is clinicians. We need more clinicians in order to do the competency evaluations. So. And we continue to offer support to the Public Defender's Office for the safe surrender events. We provide case management and connect individuals when they go in and divert them. All right. Now, on to RFP updates. But before I move on, was there any questions about RRC or tiny homes?
I just wanted to make a quick comment. Thank you, Manager Acosta. Really invite all of you to come tour the RRC. Manager Acosta is the one who set it up. It really does feel like a welcoming space for folks coming, re-entering from incarceration, and I'm really proud of those 86%. I know that's increased just in the time I've been here, and really glad to see you all working to make it work for people coming out. Yeah, I think that those, and I hadn't known about Enlaced, so just really appreciate all of the efforts. And Tiny Home Village is another place that folks knew might want to come check out. Again, we have a really great space there that I'd encourage folks to come and see for yourself.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
This is
Commissioner Baca.
Barbara Baca. I just wanted to say, did I hear you correctly, Pam, that we have 29 of the 30 tiny homes filled?
Yes, Madam Chair and Commissioner Baca, yes, that's correct.
Yes.
Congratulations. We're
Yes.
going to have a party when we have full occupancy. So
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'll bring
Thank
the
you.
cake.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
most importantly, that we have full staff
Yes.
to cover that occupancy.
Yes.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you both. That really means a lot. We appreciate that. All right, RFP updates. We had an RFP out for school-based mobile health clinics to be the provider. We are in the finalization of the negotiations, and we are going to enter this contract, hopefully executing by April. So we're excited about that. The two first units are due to be delivered to Burnco by July of 2024, but the provider will start providing on-site services. We're working with the schools to find some space so that they can start providing services ahead of the units arriving. And then we are in the process of requesting a third unit, thanks to Congresswoman Stansberry, who also sent over some congressional appropriations towards us. And I promise even though it looks, I'll be brief. Let's see, we are working with procurement to announce a second round of our small provider RFP that will be open for 60 days to allocate remaining funds. We're in final negotiations with the provider for the, let's see here. Oh, we're in final negotiations with one provider, and that agreement should be at the end of the month. We had a good response. However, during the RFP process, some of those folks either weren't ready or backed out themselves. And so we want to allow for a longer period so that folks understand, can get the technical support, really have the time that they need to develop their RFP, and that way we can fund those smaller providers. We also want to promote it a lot better so that, I think that we garnered some interest, but not enough interest that we were hoping for. So we want to do that.
Just to be clear, in case anybody wants to reach out to folks, that's when we say small providers, that's folks that have a budget of 500,000 or less.
Yes, correct. Excluding grants. Yes. And then we are also working with procurement to announce our multi-wide RFP that will also be open for 60 days. And then we'll enter some master agreements with those selected vendors by the end of the calendar year. We did this many moons ago, 4 years ago, and now many of those contracts are coming to their term. And we want to solicit as many providers as we can, and that way we're continuing to fill those gaps within the community. Any questions on the RFPs?
Is there expected to be an RFP for any other is there a schedule of RFPs for behavioral health?
Just the two right now. The multi-award and the small provider are the only two right now.
And when's the multi-award? It's already out?
No, the multi-award will be going out by the end of this month, hopefully even at the very latest March 1st. I think they might be waiting on me. I have to sign one paper. And so I'll own that, but we're going to push that out as quickly. One thing that I wanted to mention, Vice Chair Barboa, is that allowing the 60 days for the RFP allows us to provide that technical support. We want to offer workshops in between so that folks get the help that they need to their questions answered, there's not anything missing from their proposals, et cetera. We really want to provide that hand-holding to ensure that we're getting as many responses as we can.
Thank you so much. To that question too, when it opens, it'll be open for 60 days.
Correct.
Can I request that you all send that RFP link to this board?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Absolutely.
And the small provider one is already out?
Absolutely, yes. Thank you. All right. And then we have 2 new project updates. This week, our Board of County Commissioners approved the reallocation of some current BHI funds to fund youth detox service. So as you know, Ms. Court and Mr. Ramirez were talking about opioid settlement money. We are going to be entering into a contract with Serenity Mesa, who's a sole source provider who are already providing transitional living services and substance use services to the youth. They've been at the forefront of a lot of our discussions in our subcommittees, in our Addictions Treatment Advisory Board, in the Behavioral Health Working Group, as a provider who has the knowledge, the experience, and the readiness. And so we were able to get some funds that we had from within our current budget that was previously committed, and then that project was actually funded in a different way. So we were able to move that funding to fund youth detox. A little bit about the program. We're going to be funding them $3.65 million. And this is in partnership in year 1 with the city, who's going to be funding close to $1 million for year 1. And then year 2 and 3, the county through BHI funds would fund up to about $1.5 million each year. The design of the program will support 6 clients at a time. The program's 5 to 7 days, and the expectation would be that the clients, after 5 to 7 days, would transition into the longer-term treatment program that they offer there at Serenity Mesa. They also have an outpatient treatment program, and let's see here. They are slated to complete their building, so they're way ahead of the game. Hopefully by March of 2024, it would be, this new youth detox would be on their existing campus, which is on Condishore Drive Southwest, where they currently offer services. And they have recently hired a consultant that's helping to acquire the necessary state licensure and national CARF accreditation. And so they're moving pretty quickly, and we're really excited. This is, New Mexico really doesn't have youth detox, and so they are going to be the trailblazers and set the tone, and hopefully this will encourage other folks to take a leap as well so that we can open up more beds.
Just want to comment real quick,
yes.
that, previous to having a detox meant that if you're a parent and your youth was needing to detox, that parents have been doing that on their own, Googling it without much resource, but because we didn't have an existing one. So if you got into, you could even get accepted to treatment at Serenity Mesa or another program, but every program requires that you first have detox. And if you don't have that, and you don't have that kind of support to have those first 3 to 10 days clean to get the detox, then you can lose your bed or the treatment opportunity available, or because we know how hard it is to detox on your own, that then it just prolongs it might even just, discourage the option for treatment altogether. So this is it's the only detox youth center in the state, or will be, and it's a huge step, so thank you.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. They will also be providing medication-assisted treatment there as well, so I forgot to mention that, but thank you for your comments, and you're exactly right. Appreciate that. I know you keep your thumb on everything that's going on, and so I appreciate you saying that. Then finally, the last new project update, our Board of County Commissioners also approved $3 million in behavioral health gross receipts for a capital and startup project dedicated toward the expansion of the Housing Navigation Center at the Gateway Center. The funding will be dedicated to demolish, construct, and reconstruct an existing 17,000 square foot suite located on the 2nd floor adjacent to the existing Housing Navigation Center at Gateway. And the project will expand the capacity by 50 beds, and the project is anticipated to impact over 200 individuals annually. So that was another big thing for us. I think that's it for now. I've flooded you with tons of information. I'm happy to provide additional information if you need it, and I stand for any other additional questions.
Thank you, Senior Manager. Is there any questions online? Thank you so much for the great report out.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thanks. Wonderful. And are there any BHI subcommittee members asking to present online or in person? Great. Somebody said they had to log off. Great. So if there's no other business, the next Albuquerque Burlington County Government Commission plus APS meeting will be Thursday, April 25th, 2024, with our new chair, Nicole Rogers. And if there's no other business, we're happy to adjourn today. Thank you. See, Alan, I told you I don't like to make it quick.